All right, what's going on, everybody? We got episode 2 of the off season. We kind of spent our first episode just kind of breaking down what we did in Worcester this past year, getting to deal with Chad Tracy and dealing with a lot of the players there. We got a guest joining us for episode 2, Zach Fogell. How's it going, Zach?
Doing great. How are you guys doing?
Not too bad. I feel like this year has been a whirlwind for you. I guess is there any? I guess we might as well just start with the draft experience. Can you
Yeah.
kind of talk about just the draft process and becoming a Red Sox?
Yeah. So I mean, it was a crazy couple of days for me. So I knew there was a chance on day 2 and day 3. Everyone told me it was either going to be the later rounds on day 2 or any time throughout day 3. Day 2 rolled around, watched the whole thing, like just was enjoying the moment, and didn't get my name called that day. So, chalk it up, make some phone calls, stuff like that. Then day 3 comes around, and in the morning, there's some phone calls and stuff like that with my now agent and stuff. And it sounded like early day 3. So I was expecting like either from the first 5 rounds for a 10th or 15. And then 15th round came by, not much noise, just a little bit of chatter. And then it's about the 18th round, and I've gone upstairs. I've stopped watching at this point, lost a little bit of hope. And then I get a text, and I look at it, and it's one of the Red Sox scouts that I've been talking to, and he's like asking me, and he's like, "I think we're gonna get you right here." So I run back downstairs, and my mom's still watching the recording, like freaking out a little bit, and I don't tell her anything because I just want it to be a surprise. And the Red Sox pick comes up, and I look at her, and I can just see her face just completely changed. All the anxiety just wore off when she saw my name up there. It was the most surreal thing for me, especially growing up as a Red Sox fan my whole life from a small town, Rhode Island. It was amazing.
Yeah, so you're from small town Rhode Island. Are your folks also are they New Englanders and are they also Red Sox fans?
Yeah, so my mom and dad both grew up in Rhode Island, different towns than where I grew up in, but they've stayed here their whole life, basically. And my mom just moved to Massachusetts in Shrewsbury, so that's where I was watching the draft. So it was pretty cool to hear my name called in Mass by the Boston Red Sox too. So.
You kind of stuck around there for college too. You played. You went to Brown initially, and then you transferred to UConn. People don't usually transfer out of the Ivy League. What was that experience of going from Brown to UConn?
So it was different, definitely more because of COVID. I mean, COVID was something no one's ever experienced before in the college baseball circuit. So for me, Brown was a great offer for me out of high school, be able to focus on education and baseball at the same time. And then COVID knocked out my sophomore and junior year. So I was unable to play. So I still had 2 years of athletic eligibility by the time I was graduated. So I went in the transfer portal the fall of my senior year, and UConn was the first school to hit me up. And they were a school that I was really looking into out of high school. I love the coaches there. I love the facilities, and they only got better over the 4 years that I was at Brown for. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me. I went on a visit, and it was awesome. I loved it. My experience at UConn is amazing. I had a great season with great support staff, coaches, athletic trainers. Everyone there was so awesome, and they really helped me thrive.
What is the big difference between playing in the Ivy League compared to UConn? What was like the biggest takeaway? I guess baseball wise.
I think team wise, there's a lot more depth at like a higher conference school. Ivy League is a lot more. There's smaller teams for one, so I mean you obviously can't have as much depth, but there's also a lot more recruiting power at these bigger schools. So being able to have that along with better facilities, I mean you can get more talent in that respect. So that was probably the main difference, was just like deeper teams, because every Division I school has a couple of great arms, a couple of great bats, But as you get to like schools like UConn, BC, up in the Northeast, I mean, 1 through 9 it's great players, and every bullpen has deep arms. Every starter goes out there and does their thing. So that, and then like I said, the facilities, I think that's the biggest thing too, because I had so many resources at UConn, from the athletic trainers to the wait staff to psychiatrists, nutritionists, just everything that was there that helped me elevate my game that much more. It was super beneficial.
What did you study in school? And when you first got there, was your intention to be baseball first, school second, and pursue that as a profession?
Yeah,
Or
so
was it kind of like you were getting your education and baseball was just a bonus?
So it was actually for Brown. It's always been baseball first for me. That has been my priority. I've always wanted to play professional baseball. Going into Brown, my mentality was, all right, baseball first, school second. But this school thing, like, I really have to pay attention to, because this is going to be something that helps project me later in life. And then at UConn, I studied business at Brown. And then UConn, I continued. I had 2 years of eligibility, and it was a 2-year master program, and I went into sports management. So that kind of helped me also prepare for my future. But at the same time, I took less class load because the grad program is spaced out, and it's less classes, which is nice. So I was able to really focus on baseball. I think I had like 3 classes per semester. I'm actually still finishing up my master's this year, because obviously I still had another year of eligibility left. So I'm using I have 3 more classes, and then a capstone in the spring. So get those done, and it'll be nice to be able to say that I'm officially done with school after all this time.
Yeah, I'm a year away from finishing my master's too, with it's sports communications. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm not looking forward to. I am, and I'm not looking forward to the capstone at the
Exactly.
same time. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Geez, sounds like your spring's gonna be pretty hefty. But I want to kind of fast forward a little bit to. All right, so the draft happens. You get picked by the Red Sox. What were those days like between actually seeing your name, being drafted, and then your time getting to the FC down to Fort Myers?
Yeah. So right after the draft, I actually had a get together at a family restaurant that I've kind of grown up at, and I had all my friends and family there. Just able to spend some time with them was awesome. Share the moment with them. Everyone was crying and stuff, so that was awesome. And then preceding days, just kind of saying my goodbyes. I think I got drafted on Tuesday, flew out on a Sunday. So saying my goodbyes, getting ready, still having that focus of needing to get ready for professional baseball. So I still had to work out, get in the gym, get my arm prepared to do that. But just, spending the last days with family before I was away for a couple months. But it was awesome. Everyone was so supportive, and they were so excited for me to move forward.
And so I guess my thing is, what was it like with all the other? So was it just every single draftee just met in Fort Myers, and you guys just all kind of like, hey, here's your new crew that you're going to get close with, type thing?
Yeah. So how the Red Sox do it is we all stay in the same hotel from everyone in the FCL players. So I actually showed up to my hotel, and my roommate just got back from a golfing trip because he drove down the day earlier. So I got to meet him, and then we went out to dinner with a couple of guys he already met. And then it was just funny because as you're walking down the halls in the hotel, you just meet new guys, and you're like, oh, hey, like, I'm so-and-so. And it's funny. That's how we met, was in the hallways of a hotel. And then we had physicals the following day on the Monday. And that was kind of just like the first like official meeting with everyone. So that was really cool to see. And then we met some of the staff as well. So that was great.
Do they do like team building activities, icebreakers, that kind of thing once you start at the facility?
We had various meetings throughout the whole day. The first whole week we were there just to get familiar with the program, stuff like that, and also help us get familiar with each other and the coaching staff, training staff, stuff like that. We have a mental skills guy or a team actually, and they all did like icebreaker stuff. We played some games, like Family Feud was one of the games we played with, like Red Sox trivia. So just stuff like that to just kind of get everyone to get to know each other, get comfortable, because it is tough. I mean, everyone's coming from different backgrounds, different places, and especially in Fort Myers, I mean, about half of the kids there speak Spanish and no English, so it was kind of a language barrier for us. But just being able to get comfortable in the same environment, I think was really good.
Who was the roommate when you got there?
I was roommates with Blake Wehunt, and I mean we're really really close now. He's a character for sure, and I was really lucky to get him. But all the guys are great. I mean, we all hung out almost every night, just did our own thing. I mean, we spend a lot of time in the hotel. We're done at the facility anywhere between 1 and 4, and then you get back and go to dinner, do whatever you can to just enjoy those days. They had a very nice pool at the hotel we stayed at. We spent various hours there. So,
what was the first impression? It was like, oh shit, like this guy is a huge human being. Like,
yeah. So I mean, I'm not tall at all. I'm like 5'10", 5'11" on a good day. So walking in the room and shaking his hand, and he's like 6'6", 6'7". I'm like, yeah, you're a big dude. But I mean, he's awesome. He's a big old teddy bear. I mean, he's softy on the inside for sure, but he's a great kid.
We have Trinner on tomorrow. We're going to be interviewing him. He's another one. I feel like they got a pair of the 6'7" guys. I'm like, sheesh, these guys on the mounds have to be nuts to face. But
yeah, they're really intimidating guys for sure on the mound.
I was gonna. So what was it? So like you said, it's like half the complex speaks Spanish, so it's like there's kind of that language barrier. What was it like playing in any of the games in the complex league?
Yeah, so I actually only got to pitch in one game at the complex league before the season ended. I got called up to Salem, but I mean it's interesting because you got to find other ways to communicate with your catcher. Because I mean I pitched and I think I didn't have a great first outing. I think I walked a guy, then a hit. So there's a man on second, and you got to communicate runner on second signs because you don't want to just put down one finger and hope he doesn't relay it. But just finding other ways to communicate. And I mean, the catchers do a really good job, even if they don't speak English, to help you find comfort on the mound and execute your pitches. So they do a really good job, and they were doing it all year. I mean, but with new guys and stuff, it definitely gets tough, but they did a great job with it.
How was Salem when you got there? I know it was a pretty short stint there, end of the season and everything, but first taste of full season ball. How'd that go? How did you enjoy it?
It was awesome. Like, I was super grateful to get the call up and go there. We flew out Sunday. Got there right before 3:00 game, watched 3:00 game. It was like an extra inning, 13 inning game. It was kind of crazy. We ended up losing, but then the next day was travel day, and we drove 6 hours to Georgia and play in Augusta. So that was kind of like my first real series, real games in affiliate ball, and it was awesome. I mean, got to like learn the guys, learn the ways of how to do it, because it's different from in Fort Myers. You wake up at 6, 7 in the morning, you leave the facility at 12, 1 o'clock. In affiliate ball, it's completely opposite. You wake up whenever you need to, get to the ballpark around 1-ish, and got to catch the bus. So it's definitely a lot different. A little getting used to the sweet sleeping schedule after that. But I mean, it was great. The coaching staff was great in Salem. Really welcomed me and the other 2 guys that came, and we all had great outings. It was awesome. Our last 2 games got canceled because of the rain, which stunk. So I got gypped an outing from that, but it was really good.
Yeah, that happened with Worcester too. Rain was just a mess this year. But Parker and I are in the weeds with scouting reports, and we know a lot about what guys throw and everything. But how, to fans that this is their first introduction to you, what type of pitcher are you, and what can they expect?
Yeah, so for me, I'm not an intimidating guy in my physical stature, but I try to use that in other ways, kind of like a sneaky lefty pitcher, because I go up on the mound, you don't think I'm going to throw too hard, and then I'll get 94 by you someday. So just being able to do that, And then from my lower slot, it kind of jumps on hitters a little bit more, which is awesome. And then, so I'm a fastball, slider, changeup guy, looking to develop another pitch, but we'll see if that comes this offseason or next one. We'll see. But, and I just try to attack hitters. Lefties, I'm really, really good against with that fastball slider. It works really well for me, and I have a lot of success with it. And righties, kind of the same thing, fastball slider. And then I've really developed my changeup this year since I got to the Red Sox. Coaching staff really helped me find some cues that work for me, and that's been one of my better pitches since then. So it's been great. But just try to attack the zone, attack hitters early, and do some contact, and I'll also rack up some strikeouts too. So it's awesome.
And so myself and Ed, we spent a lot of time in Worcester this year, in the clubhouse and for every home game for the Woo Sox. And so it was kind of cool to see some guys, some of the younger guys pick some of the veterans, like, there's Jake Farias that have experience, and Ryan Sheriffs, and a bunch of guys that were up there. And you had certain guys that would pick their brains and learn how to throw pitches and everything. Like, did anything like that, like when you got to the complex, like down in Fort, were you guys like kind of picking each other's brains? Like, oh, I've had this be successful in the past, and you guys kind of adapt that stuff. Is that happening that early on?
Yeah, for sure. I think for us, it kind of accelerated the process in that respect, because we're all brand new. You're learning whole new people, and while you learn their people, you learn how they throw, and especially when you have a new catch partner, you learn how they do things and stuff like that. And pitching is a lot different for everyone, but at the same time, sometimes it's very simple in the way that you might have some issue that you've been dealing with that you think of one way, but another guy thinks of a completely different way, and that really opens your mind to something. And that one little cue really like helps you fix something that you've been thinking about. So that's awesome. And then pitch grips are like super cool to work with guys, because we're all very similar in respect that we're all great pitchers. I mean, everyone in the organization is awesome. So being able to just bounce ideas off each other, and the coaching staff does a great job. I mean, they really harp on the analytics and stuff like that, which is new to me. So being able to like do a pitch design pen, and a guy's like, oh, hey, move your finger pressure here, and then we'll see how that plays. So it's just awesome to see how guys can develop so quickly just because of the knowledge of the players and the coaches together.
So when you say pitch design pen, is that like them working on a new pitch with you?
Yeah, just either fine tuning one pitch. For example, like my changeup I was talking about earlier, I was trying to do a little too much with it, and we changed my thought process. Instead of like trying to really pronate on it and get some extra movement, instead just throw it like a power change and just rip it as just like a fastball. And it played a lot better metric wise. So that was awesome. But just stuff like that, just maybe you lost your slider a little bit, so let's try to find it again. So like, what cues help you find it and make that pitch just as nasty as it was before?
I'm trying to remember. Were you down in the complex when there were some rehabbers down there?
Yeah, so that was awesome too. I got to meet Zach Kelly, who actually came to Salem with me when we were there. So that was awesome.
Local boy there too. He's from that area.
Oh, he loved it. There were a lot of people there to go see him play, which is awesome. Him, Frank German was another great guy to bounce ideas off of. Both great guys who have been to the big leagues too. So it's not just like they're in like AA or something, good prospect. Like, these guys have done the goal that I'm trying to achieve right now. So just being able to mentally and physically both bounce ideas off them, see how they go about their business and stuff like that was amazing.
Do you think Zach Kelly might be one of the better guys in the organization, just as a person?
As a person, I mean, there's no doubt about that. He's
up there.
He's a great guy. And the thing with me that I found surprising was that, especially with him, guys that have been there, they're not super ego guys. They're not like, wow, like I'm the best type of deal. Like, I've been there, like, shoot, like the first day we got there, he walked into one of our meetings and just sat down and was like, "You guys ever need anything? Like, come talk to me." And we were just like, that blew me away because I wasn't expecting anything like that from the big leaguers. So just be able to see him have that type of personality was super awesome. And I learned a lot from him in the couple of weeks that I've known him and talked to him. So it's just super invaluable, the information those guys have.
Yeah, Ed's I think Ed is a big Zach Kelly guy. I know we'll be
The
chatting
Zach
with
Kelly
him.
truther.
Yeah. We'll be chatting with him at some point. We got to see him in Worcester right before the season ended, so that was pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
Were you down there for Trevor Story at all?
No, sadly, I'm happy he's healthy right now, but I did not get to meet him. I think he left Fort Myers like a week or two right before we got there. He just
I was trying to line it up. I was like, I think it may have missed by a week.
Mm-hmm.
So you were a Sox fan growing up. Who was your favorite player as a kid?
Yeah, growing up, so I grew up I'd say John Lester is probably my favorite pitcher growing up. Lefty
pitcher.
I was number 31 all throughout when I was younger on my travel ball teams. I tried to really recreate my game after him. And he had a lot of success with the Red Sox. It was awesome. But Mookie's up there he's one of the best baseball players in the world right now. So it's hard to not love him, even though he's not a Red Sox anymore. But
I think most fans feel the same way on that.
Yeah.
Did you go to a lot of Paw Sox games growing up?
Yeah, Pawtucket was about 15, 20 minutes from where I grew up. So we actually did father or mother-son games. Every year our school did this event where you went to like a mother-son game. Moms brought their kids to a Paw Sox game. So I met at least once a year. Always caught like a firework game on a Sunday night. It was just super cool. And it's a super awesome experience to be able to go see professional baseball players it's not even expensive at all to go see AAA games nowadays. So that's awesome. It was sad to see them go to Worcester, but the ballpark in Worcester is amazing. So there's not much to complain about.
Yeah, really, Polder's fantastic, and McCoy had a charm, but it was like you could kind of tell when it was built. Also,
yeah, it was old fashioned for sure.
Were you baseball only as or did you play any other sports?
So I played soccer, basketball, and baseball growing up. Stopped playing soccer after my sophomore year and stopped playing basketball after my freshman year, just because I was a smaller kid and everyone was telling me get in the weight room, try to put on some pounds, stuff like that. And it was tough when I was playing three sports every year. So being able to kind of hone in the fall and winter on getting in the weight room and stuff really helped me elevate my game in high school.
And I'm just kind of all over the place right now, so you're just gonna have to bear with it. But so what did you think of Salem as a spot? As in like, so I've always found it interesting in that respect where it's like you go from Fort Myers, then you go to Salem, then Greenville, then up to Portland, then down to Worcester now. So it's like, what did you think of Salem as a whole? I've heard a lot of different answers.
Yeah. So the first Salem experience I got was obviously getting to the airport in Roanoke. And I've never seen an airport like that in my life. It's got 5 gates total, like one terminal, 5 gates. Smallest airport I've ever seen. So that was crazy. But the area around it was nice. It's a small, rural town, suburban area. Not much to it, to be honest. A lot of land. But the ballpark was nice. It's a nice little facility they got there. And the facilities are great. So there's nothing really to complain about. Not a lot of food options though, that's for sure. You got kind of like 2 or 3 spots right around the hotel we stayed at. But it's a great area.
Who was the best defender you got to play with? I know you didn't get into a ton of games, but is there anybody that really stood out defensively to you?
Infield, I'd say probably Marvin Alcantara. He was amazing infielder, shortstop, second, wherever they put him. I felt like he was always making crazy plays.
Yeah, I've heard the glove with him is ready. He just needs to put on some muscle.
Yeah, he's a great prospect. He's gonna be great. Outfield, I'd probably say my draft class, Stanley Tucker. I mean, I would play with him in the FCL, and then he came to Salem with me. And I feel like every game he was making a diving catch, a great play in the corner, making a play against the wall, then hosing it to second. Like he's a great player.
And speaking of teammates, I guess, especially ones that went to Salem as well, what were your first thoughts of seeing Nazan and Antonio?
Yeah, so they're both great kids, and I can't give them enough credit. Being 18 years old, 19 years old now, and being just kind of thrown into this mix with all the publicity and talk around them. I mean, they handle themselves like professionals already, which, I mean, the Red Sox go out and that's what they do. They get guys who know how to act as human beings first and play baseball as well. So, I mean, credit to both of them for just being awesome people. And I mean, they settled in very nicely. Both had some great games. Both dealt with some injuries, but young career, a first taste of like real baseball after high school. I mean, they're going to be great players for sure.
It is kind of crazy if you think about it, that it's like you got the, like you said, it's like they're both 18 years old getting drafted out of high school, and then you're an Ivy League guy and then went to UConn. Like you guys are on the different scales there, where it's like you've had a whole college life and everything, and these kids are just like not even 19 years old.
It's crazy to think about, especially I think about the kids coming from the DR, not being able to speak the native language here, being that young, first time, like getting their own money, getting paid. Like it's just so many new experiences for these guys. And I think it's tough for me sometimes. And I'm like 3 to 4 years older than some of these guys too. So, I mean, it's all the credit to them. They do a great job. The Red Sox do a great job of teaching them and stuff like that too, and getting good guys.
I was going.
And you don't. Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead, Ed.
Okay. You don't have to go into the details of this if it's out of your pay grade. But how did you react when you found out that the team was moving on from Chaim Bloom, the guy who had drafted you a couple of months ago? Is that like how's from you as a new draftee? Like what's that situation like?
Yeah, so for us, I mean, we found out from the tweet actually, and it was kind of hectic that day. I was in Fort Myers at the time. Everyone was just like, oh, like what's going to happen now? And I mean, nothing's really happened. I guess stuff won't really happen until a new guy's put in place. But it's tough for me to say because this is my first year with the organization. So I didn't really know, like, I'm not going to notice a difference really in the months that I've had. But it was a shock for sure for most of us, I'd say, but it's tough because I'm also just in the dark as anyone else. Like people ask me, like all my friends and family back home, like, oh, what's the new update? What's the new update? I don't know anything, to be honest. They don't include me in any of those talks. So, but I mean, Chaim did a great job, I think, and he really built up this farm system. And hopefully the next guy that comes in does just as good of a job and helps the Red Sox get some championships under their belt again.
Yeah, that was it was definitely a weird day because there was a home game that day in Worcester, and it was kind of like, whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was like, if the locker room was going to be all weird. Like, I don't know, because I had met him a few times throughout the year. Him and BOH were at a few games. So always pleasant to deal with and just great to every player there. So so I kind of wanted to just look forward to next season. So has the team or anybody, I know you just started your off season a couple weeks ago, but has anybody kind of said, hey, you're going to be, probably starting here next year or whatever? Or has anybody talked to you about any of that?
No talks about that yet. I think those talks won't happen until I get to spring training. For now, they put me on a throwing program, lifting program, and I'm in touch with a coach regularly to keep in touch, base, stuff like that. But yeah, once I get to spring training, I think that's when those talks start to happen once you play in the certain games and you get placed on a certain team, and that's when the magic happens, I feel like, because until then you have no idea what's going to happen, because who knows what off-season jumps guys are going to make and stuff like that. So I don't think anyone really knows what they probably have a good idea of things that they want, but it won't be set in stone until rosters are made after spring training.
So then I got a question for you then, just personal.
Yeah.
What would be, I guess, if you don't know where you're going to be or anything, if you had to pick your top 3 goals for the 2024 season, what would they be?
Probably hit 98 would be one. I've topped out at 96 before, so being able to really take a jump in my velo would be awesome. Fill up the strike zone as much as possible. Red Sox have this huge thing where attack the middle of the zone, do your thing. So that's a big focus for me. And then goal 3 is go win a championship or whatever team I play for. Individual stuff isn't really as important to me. Obviously, in this professional baseball minor leagues, you got to root for yourself because you want to achieve the ultimate goal of being a Red Sox. But I think if you focus too much on that, you kind of get lost in it and you don't really play as much for the team. And I think that hurts your individual performance. So my ideal as a baseball player is to play team first. And I think the individual stuff will follow, because if you play for your teammates, then you're going to succeed.
If you could go, this is completely different, but if you could go back in time and face any hitter ever played the game, who would you want to face? And then of active players, who would you most want to pitch against?
Yeah, so I think of all time, I got to go Big Papi, David Ortiz. I mean, growing up a Red Sox player, I feel like
lefty matchup.
Yeah, that'd be the matchup I want. Hopefully, he wouldn't take me deep, but even if he did, that'd be something I'd still want to tell my kids about one day. Current player, that's tough. I'd probably say Mookie, just because, I mean, I grew up watching him too, and the type of player he is now. I think just being able to step up and see him in the box would be crazy.
I was gonna say, do you think you could get any pitches by Big Papi?
Maybe one. Maybe I could get a first pitch fastball by him. He wasn't expecting something. But I mean, I'd have to execute every single pitch perfectly to get that guy out. I mean, he was an awesome hitter. It was super fun to watch, and I mean, he's the reason I loved watching the Red Sox as a kid. I mean, he brought so much success to the program.
What do you get? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Ed.
What do you get into outside of baseball? Like, what do you like to do?
Yeah, so mostly like fishing, golfing, 2 hobbies of mine. My dad actually just got a boat earlier this summer, so we actually just went out earlier today and on the way back from Maine. So love fishing, love being on the water. Golfing too. Over COVID, I kind of got into golf. I feel like with every other person in America, I'm not very good at all. I don't play as much as I want, but it's still fun. It's fun to just hang out, be outside with the guys, and that. But other than that, I mean, not too much about me. Just like spending time with family and friends, and doing whatever it is that everyone wants to do, because I'm a pretty easygoing guy. I just like to go with the flow and spend quality time with quality people.
And so you're just like me when COVID hit, kind of golf.
Yeah.
I feel like, like you said, everybody. That's why, like, for a round of golf, I think pre-COVID, I was golfing at one of my favorite courses out in St. Louis for like $20 for 18 holes in a cart. Now it's like 85 or 90 now, but
it hurts the pockets for sure.
Yeah. Do you get into do you watch golf?
A little bit, like the major tournaments, I'll turn on a Sunday and just hang out. I don't really have any specific golfer that I root for. After that that Netflix documentary, though, that was really cool to watch because, you don't really see any personality from the golfers other than the faces they make after a bad shot. So being able to watch that and kind of learn how, because the game of golf to me is similar to baseball. I mean, it's a super mental game. So being able to see like how they deal with stuff was really cool.
I was going to ask if you were going to be that one of those guys like me that recorded the Ryder Cup because it came on at like 1:30 Eastern time.
No, yeah, I didn't do that. I saw the U.S. didn't do too great, though.
Yeah.
So that kind of stinks, but
yeah.
Would you ever want to pitch in the World Baseball Classic?
I think that would be awesome. I mean, putting the USA on your chest is a dream come true for anyone, I think, and being able to compete at that kind of level for a World Baseball Championship would be awesome. I'd be honored to be able to participate on that team.
It was cool. It was really fun watching it this year.
I mean, Shohei versus Trout in the championship game, to see that was crazy. I mean,
you couldn't have scripted that better. That slider he threw at the very end of it, I don't know how anybody could possibly hit that. That was insane.
Even if he knew it was coming, I don't think he'd touch it. I mean, it was one of the best sliders I've ever seen.
Well, Zach, Ed, do you got any other final thoughts here?
Leave us on this. What's one thing you would like fans to know about you that we didn't talk about here?
Yeah, one thing fans need to know about me is that, I mean, I'm a super hardworking guy, and I'm here to stay, and I'm here to prove people wrong. I mean, I've been doubted my whole life because of my size, because of whatever it is, and like I'm here to work. I'm here to get better, and I'm here to bring the Red Sox a championship one day.
You can't really bring any. I mean, that's a good way to end it. But Zach, we appreciate the time. Are you? I forgot to ask this earlier. Are you a Patriots guy?
I am a Patriots fan, which has been tough these past couple of years.
Seriously.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's this off season. I guess like I didn't realize this at the time, but I was talking to some of the guys in the UCONN locker room, and they were just like, "Oh, I can't wait to watch football on Sunday just on my couch at home." And I'm just like, wow, they don't get to do anything like that. I guess football season and AAA kind of ends like when it starts, but I'm just like, wow, that's like kind of cool to look forward to that. And you get to look forward to the Patriots being 1-3 now. So
this past weekend was a tough game to watch, but I'm also a huge fantasy football guy, so that helps a little bit because you still have interest in some football games even when the Patriots lose.
How many
Who's your
leagues
QB this year?
What was that? Sorry.
Who's your quarterback?
I have Patrick Mahomes in one league and Deshaun Watson in another.
Well, one of those is going a bit better than the other.
Yeah, definitely.
I forgot to bench Watson in another league, and fortunately everybody else did fine, but that was like I came home and was like, oh my God, he didn't play today.
Yeah, that's the worst when you miss a out designation on a player and you have him in your lineup for the whole day, and you just got to look at that disgusting 0 the whole day.
But what's worse, though, a guy that you forgot to take out because he had an O next to him at the last second, or a guy that just played the whole game and still goose eggs? Because that happened to me this past week.
I mean, there's a guy on your bench that put up like 32 at the same position.
Yeah, David Montgomery put up like 40 points this week, and of course he's on the bench. So it's like, what are you going to do, right?
The worst thing is I have him and Jamar Gibbs on my team, and I played Gibbs over him, and whatever. Happens.
Get him next week. Forget about it quick.
Yeah.
Well, Zach, we appreciate the time, man.
Thank you guys for having me.
I know the off season's short. It's gonna be February before it'll be February, like next week. It feels like it's already October, but definitely appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It was great talking to you guys.
Well, we'd love to have you on maybe again next season once everything's kind of settled in. But like we said, we appreciate it.
Of course, yeah. Thank you guys so much.